All right, lovelies, let's talk eyeshadow palettes. We are tipping into summer and I am ready to swap out what I have on the top of my vanity into some summer picks. So I'm gonna be sharing with you 10 of the palettes that I think have great color stories for summer. I did actually go through last year's summer picks to make sure that I don't have any duplicates, but I will also make sure to have that video linked down below in case 10 eyeshadow palettes is not enough for you to hear about. But if we haven't met before, my name is Kelly and I'm a professional hair and makeup artist. And here on my channel, I strive to keep beauty real. Real honest, real relatable, and real fun. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, don't forget to click subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. I'm gonna try to keep this video concise. We will see how that goes because I just filmed my recent favorites. That was the opposite of concise. That is a very chatty video, which is, by the way, how I got this makeup look, was sharing a lot of my favorites. I did change out the lip color, changed out the tank top to fool you into thinking it's a different day, even though I just tell you it's the same day anyway. I just kind of wanted to change. In all honesty, it makes me feel like maybe I haven't been sitting here for 6 hours. Anyway, this video I'm gonna try to be concise with. So far, we're not off to a good start, so let's get going right now. So I figured we could start small, and this is the smallest palette that I'm gonna be sharing with you today. This is the Lisa Eldridge Cinnabar palette. So this is, if I can get it open here with my nails, this is just a beautiful 6-pan of neutrals. I think that this is the epitome of quick, easy looks for summertime. You have these beautiful, like bronzy, coppery shades. The mattes in here work so beautifully. I think that this is just gonna be that palette that I'm gonna reach for when I want some definition on my eyes. I want a little, like, beautifully done neutral moment. Neutral leaning warm, of course, just because of these shades here. I really do like this palette. The only thing in here is that like topper shade is one that I'm not gonna reach for a lot. That one is just that like sheer whisper of sparkles that goes over the top that I'm not always here for. It's just not my vibe. But I mean, here you can see how lovely these shimmers are. I can't remember the name of this formula, but it's one of those more like satiny tones. It's just beautiful. And I love the shimmers in this. Now, I think that this palette got a lot of flack actually. And I personally think performance-wise, I had zero problems with it. I don't know if it was maybe regrets because of the price point of this. People bought it and they were like, oh, I have this, and like, this is really expensive. I mean, I think it is what it is. And I think if you picked up this neutral palette thinking it was gonna be something other than a neutral palette, but I just don't understand. I mean, for me, the palette performed really beautifully. I love the mattes in here. The shimmers are gorgeous. Is it a neutral palette that you maybe already have shades of? Yes, absolutely. But I think that you can see that from the get-go of this. So honestly, this is one that I picked out because I really wanted to try Lisa's formulas, and I knew that this would be a color story that I would get used from. So I have considered getting a single shadow to like replace this little shimmery business, but the single shadows are like, what are they? $18, $14, something like that. And it's like, man, that's gonna make this palette even that much more expensive. Now, granted, I've definitely bought shadows at that price point from indie brands, but I'm going to wait until there's a shade that I just know is speaking to me and it's one that I want to pop in here. So for now, I just have this. I really rarely ever use it. But that being said, even without using this one very often, these ones will definitely get a lot of use in my collection. I really do like this color story. This pick was more about reminding those of you that have this to pull it out. I don't know if you have this color story, it's not a need, right? If you love Lisa Eldridge, if you love luxury packaging, if you just really love that vibe, this is a great one to pick up. But most of us do have these colors in our collection. So this is a reminder from me to you to pull this one out if you have it, because this is the perfect time of year. And now to the other side of the color spectrum, we have the Hummingbird palette, of course, with the Fancy Face and Odin's Eye. So this palette, I have a bit of a difficult relationship with, because every time I look at it, I'm like, dang, there are some beautiful colors in here. There really are. But also every time I pull it out to use it, I just feel there isn't a connection between a lot of the shades in here. I just really struggle to use these shadows together. However, when I look at this and I see this poppy green, this beautiful like corally red moment, I mean, even some of these blues and purples, of course, this like teal shade, I'm like, you could totally use these shades with other shades. So maybe I use this with my companion palette that I created. You know, it just needs a little help. It needs a little help from a friend, and I can totally do that. I want to get some more use out of this. Let me go ahead and swatch a few of these shades. That way I'm inspired as well. Yeah, I mean, look at this. This right now is like tropical bird paradise. I probably wouldn't wear all three of these together, but I mean, I love this so much. And of course, these shades totally speak to me for summer. So I will definitely get some use out of this one. This just has such beautiful bright tones in it. And I know I really like the multi-chrome in here as well. So again, you can't get this one anymore, of course, but if you do have it, pull it out and we can use her this summer together. Okay, I love that I just, not on purpose even, but I picked out a mix of indie, mainstream, high-end, and drugstore in this. So we've got a little bit of something for everybody. And this is a drugstore pick. I know I've talked about this palette before, but I have just really been drawn to this one recently. And this again will be really beautiful for like two and done looks. This is the Flower Beauty Jungle Lights palette, a very well-known palette here on YouTube. But I mean, I think every single shade in here could totally speak to me this summer. I mean, of course, right away, this sort of like rosy copper shade, you know, that's totally up my alley. Then we have this gold shade, the nice like white gold. But even these ones, I mean, I could see making this a beautiful like date night look with a deep purple. You know, you got a little bit of bronzer on. I think that could be totally yummy. This could even make a good halo eye moment right here. And then a green. When is a green not a good idea? Never. Always wear greens. Do the greens. If I ever have merch, maybe that should be on my merch. Do the greens. And that could be taken so many ways, but you and I will know we're talking about eyeshadow. Okay, so in case you've never seen these swatched, I just pulled out a few of them to show you. Look at the shade right here. I want to pull out the copper shade in the Lisa Eldridge just to compare them. Wouldn't that be hilarious if they're dupes? Okay, so the copper from the Lisa Eldridge is on the top. You can see just how much more vibrancy and like, not even shine. I mean, they're both shiny, but this one just has like more metallic feel to it. So, you know, if you like a good copper moment, but you don't want to spend Lisa Eldridge prices, you could totally get the Jungle Lights. And I think, you know, this is just a good, like, neutral green. It's not like an acidic green. It's not too grungy. It's not too warm. You know, it has a little bit of gold shimmer, but not so much that it makes it, like, really gold leaning. And then that deep purple, it almost has like a grungy black base to it, or like a charcoal base to it. Yeah, definitely a smoky eye vibe right there. Now, the one thing that I will say about that Jungle Lights formula is it is a bit more emollient. So if you have hooded eyes or you have oily lids, I would definitely recommend using a primer, even like a tacky primer, just to make sure that you don't have creasing. So that would just be the one thing about these shadows that I always want to mention in case you haven't tried them. But I love both this palette and the Desert Lights palette, which is also a great one for summer, but I think I talked about that in another video. Maybe it was a spring picks. Both of these palettes can be used anytime. Makeup, any makeup can be used anytime, obviously. We're just here for some inspo. All right, I may have had this in another palette picks video, but it's worth mentioning again. It's definitely not available anymore, but I know that some of you probably still have it in your collection. This is the Anastasia Prism palette. Now, the reason I'm putting this palette in here is because this is very like summer days and summer nights. You have some beautiful warm neutrals in here for very easy summer days looks. And then you have this pop of bright, you have this beautiful like teal, you have this beautiful like blurple moment. So it could be like very easy daytime, or if you're looking for something to pull out for like steamy summer nights, you totally have that in here too. So if you have this one in your collection, pull it out. I think it's great for this time of year. Like when I look at this, I mean, I could see both summer and fall, but there's just something, maybe it is that pop of neon in here and just like the warmer tone that makes me think summer. I will say, to get impact out of this neon shade, you do want to have like maybe a little bit of liner underneath it, or like a light base. That is the one thing. It's not that impactful, but it is enough to just get like a boost for like a cute inner corner pop. Like I could definitely see doing that with some of these shades and then just having like a neon pop. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's summer to me is like more neon, because there is another palette in here that is definitely more neon leaning, and that's what inspires me to bring it out in the summer. So anyway, if you have this one, bring her out. Okay, speaking of neon, and this is not the one that I was just thinking of when I was telling you I have another neon palette in here. We have the Ace Beauty Tropical Vibes palette. So this palette has a beautiful pop of color along with some grungy earthy tones. And since that is such a trend this summer, I definitely wanted to pull out some of these kind of tones. Now, obviously you do have these two brighter shades. This one is definitely a bit more grungy. It's almost like a neon mustard, whereas this one is more of that like neon chartreuse. Then I think that, you know, I mean, this teal up here. Now I will say the Ace Beauty shimmer formula and we are not super friends. I just find that it creases on me. I know a lot of people don't find that, but these like putty-like, are they all putty-like? Some of them more so than others. So this one, this is that shade Seychelles. This one isn't quite as squishy as the others. I don't even think I've worn this one. So maybe I will give this one a go. Like, it would have to be on a day where I only need my makeup on for a couple hours, because I will tell you, these other shades in here, I did a little collab look with my friend Jody from Jodyology on Instagram, and I loved the look, but literally by the time I got to work, it had already creased. It was really disappointing. So that's just me. So if those putty type shadows work on you, you will love this palette. The mattes in here are really nice. Now, this is funny because as we're going through, I feel like I'm giving you the pros and the cons of every palette. So it's sort of like a 10 summer eyeshadow palettes you might want, but you might also not want. But that's just me being honest, because my picks aren't going to be for everybody, and I just want to give you the pros and the cons. But for me, the nice thing about this palette is there is only 3 shimmers in there, and honestly, I don't think I've worn this one at all. So maybe it was just that National Park shade that I put on the lid that gave me trouble, because this Rainforest shade, that's this one here. I'll do a few swatches of these, but the Rainforest shade, I feel like I could still do it as an inner corner, and you know, God, I hope my inner corner isn't gonna crease. If I get to the point where my inner corner has creases, we are living a sad life, my friends. But right now I don't have to worry about that. So here are some very messy swatches, but this is totally summer vibes, right? Like, I think that that is so beautiful. Ooh, that shade, which one is that? Safari. Oh, I love that. I love a good teddy bear brown shade. Yummy. Gonna have to wear that. See, now I'm excited to use this one again. This is one of the things that I love about this. So thank you for watching my videos, because that encourages me to go through my makeup and talk to you about it, which then encourages me to use the makeup I have. So I appreciate all of you. We're gonna do it. We're gonna go through all of the like earthy, grungy summer stories that are so hot right now. So right now I am just gonna bring out the Nomad palette. Of course, I'm gonna talk to you about the Nomad Okavango Safari palette. So this one I did a review with 2 looks, and I love this color story. Now this is definitely leaning more into the natural muted side of this color story, but I do like the fact that you have so many options in here. You have some warmer tones, you have like the grungy green vibe, and then you have a few cooler tones here. This is like smoky eye in a box. You also have like earthy tones. You could combine these. So many different looks that you could do from this, and I really do like the formula that Nomad provides. The mattes are always beautiful, and I love that right now they've gone back to what I think of as the best Nomad shimmer formula, where it's that beautiful, like soft shimmer with tons of multi-dimensional sparkle in it. So it just is really like a unique shimmer formula. So love this one. The packaging is so cute. This just totally screams summer to me. So of course I had to include this one. So if you do want to see the full review on that, I will make sure to have it up here. Is that where it'll be? Here. I can never remember where the eye pops up. So now this last one I pulled out because obviously with the release of the Natasha Denona Yucca palette, I've been kind of like, like I said in the Nomad video, it's not one that I feel like I need right now. Maybe at some point I'll decide to get it with a discount or something, like on sale, who knows, maybe Black Friday, although I have a feeling with such a new palette it won't be that discounted. But I also know that there's a similar vibe in this one, and so I want to enjoy this one for a while to see if it's even needed. And of course, I'm talking about the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette. I know a lot of people have talked about this in comparison. Definitely you have some similar vibes. The thing is I do believe that the Natasha Denona, the new one, they're both Natasha Denona Kelly, the new one has a newer formula. So I would kind of like to try that, but I just have so many options in here, and this palette I already have. I spent the money on it, so you know, this is one that I want to use, and I do think you really have some great summer options in here. And obviously because you have more shades, you definitely have more ways you could go with looks. And I love that you have some warmer tones with the oranges, you have those beautiful greens, you have a ton of different bronzy gold options. I really need to pull this one out more. So she's coming out. She's coming out into main real estate, and I'm going to use it more this summer. I think that this is one that I think about in the fall just because of the color story, but you really do have a lot of like typical summer colors in here to be able to use. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. And before I mentioned that there was a palette in here that has a neon vibe to it, and that's what made me pull it out for summer. And that is the Blend Bunny Surge palette. I have not pulled this one out in a while. It just hasn't been on my radar, but I really do need to get some good use of it. And now I can pull out these neons and really enjoy a bright pop for the summer. Again, the shimmer formula, so this, by the way, my palette is the original Blend Bunny shimmer formula. I know that going forward, Maggie tweaked the formula a bit, which I do think I like that formula better. So while I probably won't be using this row of shimmers very often, unless like I just don't have time to grab another palette, I have a ton of other beautiful shades in here. I'm gonna enjoy getting some use out of these neons. I have the beautiful deepening tones. You have these sort of like mainstay mid-level tones, and then these sort of like desaturated grungy pastels. So love that so much. I really need to get more use out of my Blend Bunny palettes. I love the matte formula. It's just so gorgeous to work with. And so this is going to be the one that I'm working with this summer. So let's go ahead and swatch out a few of these shades. So neons, of course. Well, we're going to take the pink and the orange. Now I do find, especially, I mean, these are neons, and a lot of neons have a little bit more of like a powdery feel, but I do think that that happens a lot with neons. So that's not great swatches at all, but I just wanted to swatch a couple of the neons. And then of course down here we have one of what I call like the mainstream shades, and then one of the deepening shades. And then these like desaturated pastels are just so pretty. Like, ugh, you know, and there are those times where it's like, I want something a little lighter, but maybe I don't want it to be like that sugary sweet pastel, but I want a little bit of like lightness to it. There's a lot of options in here, so I'm really gonna enjoy this one. I like that there's a white in here. I could see a white inner corner being a cute pop for summer. I'll be honest, I wanted to try these neons with a damp brush or over like a really tacky primer to see if I can like build them up and get a little more stickability to them. So I'm gonna have fun playing with this one. Honestly, I just, like I said, I haven't thought about pulling it out in a while, and now is the time of year to do so. All right, 2 more palettes. So hear me out on this one, because you're gonna see it and you're gonna be like, So this is the Gourmand Girls Spooked palette. I don't think most people are gonna see this and think summertime vibes, but if you sort of like get your mind out of that like seasonal thinking and you just look at the colors in here, it is definitely something that is totally summer tones. I mean, look at this. You have the beautiful warm tones here. Both of these shades, these 2 shimmers right here, are like, I don't know that I would call them multi-chromes, but they're definitely duochrome shades. Yeah, they're just beautiful dimensional duochromes. And then this beautiful pink pop right here, a lovely purple eye in the summertime. Tan skin, purple eye, glossy lips. I'm gonna be here for it. I think that this color story is great. And I know I said in my review of this palette, I was like, this is great for fall. And yeah, you can get like that spooky vibe look out of this, but you can also get so many other looks. And so I'm gonna do that. So if you have this one in your collection, go ahead and pull it out this time of year. You won't be sorry. And right now, as I film this, the palette is still available on the Gourmand Girl site. I know that Christina is planning another collab with Doodles by the Bunny, which by the way is the person who she collabed with, which is why this packaging is so bomb. But anyway, I know that they're planning another collab, so I don't know if this is one is sticking around. I could see it maybe sticking around through fall, because I think a lot of people who maybe like didn't think about getting it before are gonna want it for the next fall and Halloween season, but we will see. But it is available right now. I love it. I've really had a lot of fun with it. All right, my last palette is another palette that I think has some really easy summer day looks and some sultry nighttime looks, and that is the Midnight Sun Mothership from, obviously, Pat McGrath. So this color story, I mean, everyone has seen Midnight Sun at this point, especially after Stickergate. So a lot of us have this. A lot of us might even have 2 of this palette. So pull it out. So I did get this on super sale, but I do think, like I said, you have some beautiful, quick and easy looks. I mean, you could lean into this side for the day. Even this like khaki-ish green tone like this with this matte, such a quick and easy look, even if like daytime summer to you doesn't mean like light and neutral. You could totally get like a fun little safari vibe just from these 2 shades. But this coppery shade, that beautiful gold would also be gorgeous. And then this purple, have I even used that one in a look yet? I cannot remember. Did I? I don't know, but I have been leaning more into the purples, as you all have seen, as I've like gotten into my evolution of what I'm willing to wear on my eyeballs. So that is one of the reasons that I pulled this one out, because I'm like, you have these motherships, girl, like use them. Use them. And so part of it is taking it out of the darn box. So I've taken it out of the box, I put the box aside, and now this one's gonna stay out on my vanity for a while. So if you have it, maybe you should do the same. And again, we can use them together. So that is the 10 picks for summer. Now, like I said, some of this was self-serving. Some of it was like, hey, Kelly, use your makeup that you already have. But then I was thinking like, well, maybe you all would enjoy that too. You know, maybe it's just a good reminder. Of course, let's see. Are there any of these that you can't get anymore? I don't think so. Oh yeah, the Odin's Eye one. Sorry, I'm looking on the ground because I put most of these on the ground because I really need to do a good cleanup of my vanity top here. So I was like, just leave them on the ground and then you can wipe everything off. But anyway, I think that Odin's Eye is the only one that you can't get anymore. So again, I'll make sure to have everything linked down below for you if there was something that really piques your interest. But for me, this video is a lot of like, hey, these are what I already have in my collection. I bet you already have a lot in your collection too that you could use. So I hope that this video served that purpose. So I said I was going to keep this short and succinct. I don't know if it was that, but it wasn't quite as long and rambly as some of these get. So I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please don't forget to give this video a like. Please let me know down in the comments some of your summer shadow palette picks, and I will see you really soon.